Hello and welcome to the City of Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Crispin,
Here.
Gribovich,
Here.
Hartley,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Leeper, and Moser.
Here.
Okay, so we do have 5, so we have a quorum.
Okay, we do have a quorum right now. This is, first item is approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Voice vote of aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. All right, thank you. This is the part of the meeting for public comments for anything that is not on the agenda. If there's anyone here in the public that'd like to get up and speak to any item. I see no takers, so thank you very much. We have no old new business at this meeting, but our first item for new business is a final plat for Wild Horse Ridge 6th Edition. And who has this?
I'll be presenting one.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that's the first case for tonight. It's the final plat for Wild Horse Ridge 6th Edition. The subdivision is off West 12th Street and west of Union Road. As you can see on your screen, this is the 6th edition in this subdivision. The preliminary plat for the 5th to 10th editions were reapproved in 2021, and the revised preliminary plat, which added about 40 by attached dwelling, was approved. 4 of the lots were proposed of that part to be in the 6th edition, which were added from the 5th. So in total, the proposal was to have 22 single family lots. As you can see on your right, the highlighted yellow area is where this subdivision will be going. The street connection continues the Wild Horse Ridge Northwest to connect to Sonoma and the Pebblestone Place. And this is consistent with preliminary plat that was approved in 21. Some couple of minor things that the staff is working with is some minor changes in the final plat drawings, minor label corrections, and other than that, staff is going to be waiting for some maintenance bond and cost share improvement approval with engineering department before this goes to council. With that, staff recommends approval of Wild Ridge 6th Edition and recommends approval with the stipulations stated in the staff report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, JD. Is there any people here from the public that would like to speak to this item? Please come up to the podium and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Hi, Phil Keneally, 4414 Blair Ridge Road. So I'm here on behalf of the residents of Wild Horse Ridge and the children, actually. This is the 6th edition of the Wild Horse Ridge that does not include a park anywhere to place a playground. And I'm seeing this as a trend throughout the city. These new developments come in and there's no green space made available for parks or playgrounds. If you look at the comprehensive plan that the city paid some developer back in 2011 to develop, it recommended that we put parks or green spaces in these new developments. I don't think there's been any teeth put into that. It's just a vision, for the city. But we keep seeing these plats come through. The developers haven't laid out any green space. The planning and zoning doesn't require it. The city council evidently doesn't have an ordinance for that. And I just think it's time to start executing on the vision that we had for the city. So that's my objective to be here. It's about 2 miles to the closest park from our addition, and that's Birdsall Park. The golf course is there, but it's fenced in, and you're not going to put a playground on a golf course, right? You have to cross Union Road, and you have to cross 12th Street. So little kids, families with little kids, have a long way to go to get to a playground with a park. And I'm just thinking there's I think there's 3 more phases to the Wild Horse Ridge that are coming in. As far as I know, no green space has been allotted for that. And I know there's other divisions that are being developed in the city that's the same case. And so I'm here to say, let's drive a stake in the ground and let's get some green space for our kids.
Okay?
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you coming up.
You bet.
Is there anyone else from the public that'd like to come up and speak to this item? I see no one, so I can bring that back to the commission for discussion. I have, I guess, a staff question on regards to green spaces. What is the position or the code on green spaces for subdivision?
There currently is not a code. It's in the comprehensive plan that was referred to. It does talk about providing green spaces and parks as places are developed, but there's nothing, no ordinance that requires a developer to do that. Now, if they come in with a special zoning, so they do a mixed use, some of those then are required. They may be required as part of the approval to have that. I think this one has been on before that became part of the requirements, so it's sort of grandfathered in from that first one. But that doesn't mean that the developer wouldn't maybe want to dedicate a park or a green space.
Okay, thank you.
Also, the subdivision was started since 2005. It was a different name then. So this has been an ongoing progress since then. Yes, the comments that Mr. Kinley mentioned were valid, and I think I have given a public response to you on your table. We received that last week. So thank you, Mr. Kinley. Yeah, it's a valid point, but again, as I said, this final plat is just an approval of what the preliminary plat was approved back in 2021. Mm-hmm. So, but it's certainly a valid point and up for commission to discuss. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask you a question to that?
Can you come back up to the podium, please? Yes.
Sorry about that. So you mentioned the preliminary plat was filed in 2021, and that the previous plat was 2005, but under another developer, right?
Yes. So this subdivision has been going since 2005. Yes.
Understood. That developer had green space involved in that plat and much bigger lots and a whole different vision for the development. We brought that to the planning and zoning a few years ago. That's all changed, and okay, we can live with that. But the preliminary plat in 2021, you say that's already been filed. Has there been any public comment on there, an opportunity to have some input about whether that's might?
So I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure we would have similar meeting for approval of preliminary plat back in 2021. And I'm not sure how many public comments were filed back then, but I'm happy to look into it.
Okay. And is that procedure, you generally have public comment for a preliminary? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, it sounds like that original plat by the original developer, it wasn't a requirement to have green space. They were just showing it in there as the master plan. It doesn't mean that since it was shown in the master plan that it ended up in the final plat on it, so.
I have a staff question. Is there some highlight that can be brought to any changes from the preliminary plat that was approved? Is this?
Between 2005 and the latest one for the 5th through 10th?
No, this is a final plat approval, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
So the preliminary plat you said was from a year ago?
Yes.
Are there any changes from that preliminary plat to this final plat?
No.
Okay. Then I guess to an extent it's kind of to be expected. I think those are good discussions to have as far as park ground goes, to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what the expectations are for the public, and making the expectations to developers clear. So those are good conversations to have in the future. But for right now, I think I think we have kind of an obligation to move this final plat on, since it jives with the original preliminary plat. So I would move to approve the final plat.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I definitely think the addition of parks is an excellent idea, and to Kyle's point, this has come before us before, and that is likely something that would need to be discussed with the developer. I mean, we can't just deny it because it doesn't have a green space, but it's definitely something that we're working towards to try and look at those things well in advance so that we can ask the developer if that is something that they would consider putting in, so that we can likely see more green spaces in the future. And I think there are a lot of things that have come through city council that have suggested that that is something that our community wants to see more of. So hopefully we will be seeing more parks in the future.
All right, any more comments? And I do agree with the green space. I like the concept that that should be included in all developments. But as regarding this final plat, this totally qualifies for what's going through, and it's by the book. So at this point, I guess we'll take it to a roll call vote, please.
Chrisman,
Aye.
Gribovich,
Aye.
Hartley,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
and Moser.
Aye.
Okay, we have 5 aye vote. Aye votes.
All right, and that passes, and we'll move on to city council. I'm not sure which date, but it will move on to city council. Moving on to our next new business agenda item. It's rezoning to R4 with new zoning agreement for a Midway Business Park. And who has this item tonight?
I will be covering that.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. So a couple months back, staff brought forward a zoning agreement amendment for the Midway Business Park. Through that process, kind of between the Planning and Zoning Commission's approval and City Council, it was discovered that the original legal description of the land that was on that original zoning agreement that was from 1994 it had some errors in it. It was really by happenstance that we had discovered that, and so this is more of a formality to go through this, and instead of amending that agreement, we figured to replace it entirely, and kind of clean up things in terms of the provisions that that have been fulfilled so far, that don't really need to be mentioned anymore, and then also ensure that the things that are intended to move forward to be tied with the land, that they be that they continue in force. So if you look at the screen, you'll see this this applies to the Midway Business Park, which is east of Cedar Heights Drive and north of Green Hill Road, kind of in that kind of sector. It's a park that entails 9 originally platted parcels. Some have been combined since it was first created. And when the zoning agreement went through initially in 1994, there was also a rezoning to R4 that happened, which ironically also used the same legal description. And so this is actually 2 actions, and we're just setting a public hearing. Oh, this is another thing to keep in mind, and you may recall this from a couple months back, but the reason this is getting amended is because 2 parcels shown on the screen, they are wanting to allow assisted living facilities to be the land use for those 2 parcels. Currently, the agreement only allows, unless it was saved for an amendment in 2018 for another 2 parcels, it only allowed professional office uses. There's only one other assisted living facility that's there in this business park. So that's that's the impetus for this. And now just for the items that the actionable items here. We recommend setting a public hearing to consider the new zoning agreement, which will encompass the entire Midway Business Park and restrict the uses to professional offices, nursing homes, and assisted living facilities. The resolutions approving the 1994 agreement and an amendment that happened in 2018 will be rescinded. The new agreement will be brought forward at the public hearing in December. And then staff also recommends setting a public hearing to consider a proper rezoning. It's a rezone from R4 to R4, essentially, but we're doing it properly this time, utilizing the correct legal description.
All right, thank you. So, and this is item 3, correct? Because does this play into item 4 at all?
It does play into item 4, but it is item 3 for now. We'll touch on item 4 in a minute.
But we have to set a public hearing for both of those items, which would be the same date.
Correct.
So at this point, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? I don't see anyone, so I can bring that back to the commission for any discussion.
So are there other areas that are zoned as R4 that would be, like their code would need to be updated, or how does that work if there's other areas that are zoned as R4?
Yes, and actually that's what the next item that we'll be discussing will
Great.
cover.
Yeah, it's just in this location. It's not, citywide. It was as part of the rezoning back in '94. Initially, there was going to be a through street, so the rezoning conditions were put on to keep the uses to just the office uses, so it wouldn't create a lot of traffic going into the neighborhood. And then when the subdivision was done, the 4 lots that we'll look at in the next case, when that subdivision was done, it was a cul-de-sac on both of them, so then there was no through traffic, but the rezoning matter had already been incorrectly done, so we're coming back just to clean everything up.
Okay, well, then I would move to set a public hearing to consider a new rezoning agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Then is that a roll call vote on
Okay.
this?
Chrisman,
Aye.
Grebovich,
Aye.
Hartley,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
and Moser.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
All right, that carries, and a date will be set for the public hearing. I don't know if that will be the next P&Z meeting, but
Was that motion was for the rezoning, or was it for the,
it was for the,
because the rezoning, yeah, because the agreement will be part of the rezoning. So that, I think one motion is fine, but I wanted to clarify that.
so we don't need to vote again for the 4th item.
I think we technically do, since we only voted on item 4 or item 3.
The
Yeah,
hearing.
So-
Item 4 is a separate issue because it's going from the R4 to R1. But in this case, because there is a zoning agreement, it's part of the rezoning action. So you don't need to vote on both of those. When it comes forward, you'll be voting on the rezoning with the rezoning agreement. I know that sounds complicated, but
So we're not voting on item 4?
no, you will vote on item 4. This is item 3, which is
Okay.
the R4 rezoning.
Okay.
So item 4 is different.
Is there a presentation on item 4, or would I be able
Yes,
to make a
Yes.
motion?
No, there's a,
Okay.
Okay.
all right, so that item is closed, and we'll move forward to a public hearing. So now it is the rezoning of lots 1 through 4 of Midway 2nd Edition.
Yes. Okay. Now, the lots 1 through 4 of Midway 2nd Edition were part of that original zoning agreement that we had just discussed. And one of the stipulations was that both would end in a cul-de-sac, and these would be restricted to residential uses, while also being zoned R4. Now, R4 has several other uses that that are non-residential, professional office being one of them, things like nursing homes and assisted living facilities, all that. Now, in this case, these four, if we're rescinding the original agreement, those restrictions would then go away. And we don't want the establishment of even multifamily in this single-family residential neighborhood. It doesn't seem to fit in that sense. So the intent here is for us to rezone to R1 and have it match the rest of the neighborhood. The rest of the neighborhood around these four lots, which were part of that original zoning agreement, the rest of the neighborhood is R1. And so rezoning to R1 makes sense. So staff recommends setting a public hearing to consider rezoning the subject properties from R4 to R1.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? I don't see any, so back to the commission. Is there any questions, comments on this item?
I guess I think it makes sense to make everything check out. Just would like to express any apology if it's due to the developer for any unplanned delays for an otherwise great project. So thank you for bringing it to the community. And with that, I make a motion to schedule the public hearing for that as well.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? We need a roll call vote, please.
Crispin,
Aye.
Gribovich,
Aye.
Hartley,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Lynch. I'm sorry, Moser.
Aye.
All right, that passes, and we'll go to a date for a public hearing. Do we know that date, or is that set later?
We'll be aiming for December 14th.
Aiming for December 14th.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
On both of the
On both of those.
previous two, if we get things together.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. The next item is a site plan review. And I know we have a commission member that is going to abstain from this, and we don't have enough, we don't have a quorum to vote on this. So can I move this forward to the next meeting?
I
Is that legally how I need to say it? Move it
I'm not even
forward?
sure if,
I think I would have to recuse from voting.
right, so in
on
this case,
referral,
since there's
so-
not enough to conduct business, it would automatically be referred.
Okay.
Commissioner Lynch was going to be here. She had something come up this morning
Okay.
in her family, and that's why she is not here. So
Okay.
I apologize to the public that came out.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you. We will move the site plan for the triplex on Hannah Park Commercial Edition. Will go forward to the next meeting. So I apologize for anyone from the public that came out for that
And-
item tonight.
do we know what that meeting date is?
Next item is our commission updates, and it does look like we do have some commission updates today.
Just, the next meeting with this will be heard should be on December 14th.
December 14th.
Right, it'll be on a Wednesday now since there's no holiday around that.
Back to the normal schedule. And now commission updates. Is there commission updates from?
Yes, we do have few updates this time for the commission. This is more of a summary of Downtown Character District project updates. So as we all know, since the adoption of CDDT district, we have been doing several projects have been completed. Some are in ongoing review, and some are currently working on it. So that includes all small or large scale projects. Small project included paving work, addition of garages onto the property, approval of fences, signage, interior remodel work. Those were all approved as part of regular permitting process. So we don't have those highlights here, but they were just approved as part of the regular process. Staff notes that some of the garage projects would not have been possible under the previous code. So this new code allowed them more flexibility, and both in terms of size and location. So some of the customers were really happy about the code. because they were allowed to what they were proposing. And then some of the significant projects which are ongoing, either completed or are under administrative review. I would just like to share a glimpse of those with the commission members. So the first project that we have was, it was a design review for the other place at 209 Main Street. So this is located in the storefront frontage of the CDDT character area. And this project has been, the review has been completed, so does the project is complete as well. I'm sure you might have been to that place. This project was more to update the existing storefront facade, to use that facade for the other place, sports bar. So as you can see, the previous storefront looked as in the image below, and the new updates, as you can see, it included changes in the facade, updating the awning, some signage, and of course the interior remodel. So this was our first project. It was all completed, but I just wanted to highlight that this was one of the significant projects. The second project that we have is a design review for width flats at 706, 712 Main Street. As you can see, this falls under urban general frontage of the character district. This one, the review has been completed and the work is ongoing. This project was to bring back life to an existing 1905 brick townhomes. So there are 4 attached townhomes, each on a separate lot. The project was to make valuable interior and exterior repairs and bring this townhomes to life. And I'm going to share an image or an illustration that was prepared by an architect. So this is the existing site is below, as you can see. So this is more of redoing what it is. So the part of this proposal was to repair the brick facade they had, add new windows, new porches, new decks, and also develop more like a courtyard formation in the rear yard. So that was the part of design review that we reviewed. Currently the work is ongoing, and so that's the second project that we had. The third is the same project, but we had a site plan review for the width flats, same location. Again, the review has been completed. The work is ongoing. This project was to add detached garage buildings for all those 4 attached townhomes and update backyard of each unit. And this is the architecture rendering that was proposed. So each of this townhome is going to have a 2-stall garage and about double wide driveway, and then they are also going to have a nice little rear courtyard, that as you can see on your image to the right. So this work is already ongoing. So this was the project, and the other project that we reviewed was the 315 and 317 Main Street. So this falls under, again, the storefront frontage of the character district. This project's review has been completed and the work is ongoing or is going to begin soon. This project was to update the existing storefront facade for 2 different but connected establishments. The 315 Main Street storefront will be used as a brewery and restaurant, whereas the 317 Main Street storefront will be used as a restaurant/bar. As you can recall, I think this is the 315 building is where the Scratch Cupcake used to be there. So, and these are the proposed illustration that we have from the architect. So majorly what we are trying with this new code here, and which the applicant has proposed, is they will be creating more openings. As you can see, storefront areas will be more opened up to public, which is the intent of the code, and they are likely to be two new spaces for people to enjoy in downtown Cedar Falls. So I think the work is started or will begin soon. That's the status, but the review has been completed. And the last project or major project we have is the site plan and design review for Clay Street Cottages. This is located at 215 West 9th Street. corner of Clay and 9th, West 9th. This is fronting on a neighborhood small frontage of the character district area. I would say this project is under review. We are still reviewing this project, but the application was submitted in late October. So we just wanted to bring this forward that we are reviewing this. So this project would include, it's a proposal for 2 cottage courts, which will include 12 independent cottage units, possibly, and possibly, 1 apartment unit above the garage. The cottage court unit will be about 1.5 story high and will have about 650 square feet of footprint. This is the proposed rendering for what they would look like. So this is a cottage court development that the staff is reviewing at the moment. We'll have more updates on this probably in later meetings, planning and zoning meetings. But this is all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions that commission may have. And again, this is just to provide glimpse, and we would be happy to provide more details as soon as we make progress on these projects or any new projects that may come in. So thank you.
Thank you. Very, very nice. Some exciting things happening downtown. I really appreciate the update and review of some of the things going on. Is there any questions from the commission on any of these items?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to see the wheels in motion on all of our collective staff included hard work on transitioning to that new code. When I see pictures of before and after, I think of it as metrics of success. And part of that promise or proposition of changing the code was to streamline the process. I think it would be really helpful to get, perhaps at the next meeting, a reporting on what the elapsed time was of the review process from the initial inquiry of the applicant. So the time from the initial inquiry to the time of the official submittal to the time of the approval of the internal review. I think it would be helpful to know that on these first few projects so we can establish a sort of baseline for future success.
Sure, we would be happy to give you that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Once again, staff, thank you very much for the information. To the public that came tonight, we appreciate the support. Thank you. Sorry, agenda item couldn't get on there tonight, but we will. I think, as you understand it, we need a quorum. We need 5 people here to vote on something, and we can't, so we can't bring it ahead of the meeting, or in front of the meeting. So we'll look forward to seeing you on December 14th. So with that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.